I want to bring in my power panel now. Jason Meister, a political analyst and a Trump 2020 advisory board member. Robin Biro, a Democratic strategist and former Obama campaign regional field director. And Fox News senior judicial analyst, Judge Andrew Napolitano. Judge, I'm going to start with you. A couple of things. These witnesses, we were told, appeared at this hearing today, and we only found this out moments before the hearing began today, that they were under subpoena. What is the significance of that?
I don't think there's any legal significance in terms of the credibility of their testimony, but for them there is significance because they are both still employees of the federal government. And Ms. Williams, at least, indicated that some of her colleagues were asked not to testify. I don't think the vice president said testify or don't testify. But if you can say with intellectual honesty, I am only here because I've been subpoenaed, you're covered. And it's often that this happens, even in civil and criminal cases. And the lawyers will often accept the subpoena rather than having the marshals knock on the door at 6 in the morning and hand her the subpoena before she leaves for the day.
All right, I want to pop up some numbers on the screen if we can. Jason, I'm going to ask you about this, and I'll get your response right after, Robin. This popped from NPR today. Look at this polling. 65% overall, no matter how you identify as a voter, 65% of people surveyed said there is no information or circumstance that could change my position on impeachment. What does that tell you, Jason?
I'm not surprised, Harris. It shows us that we live in a very partisan country right now. And it's clear from today's testimony on behalf of Vindman and Williams that this is a partisan hunt against the president to remove him because the Democrats have no candidate and no message. If you pull away impeachment and you pull away Nancy Pelosi and you pull away Schiff, there's nothing that the Democrats stand for today. And that's what I think you see in that polling.
You know, Robin, I first want to get your response to the polling, and then I'm going to hit you with a follow-up question to Jason.
You know, the polling is telling. It tells the story that we're really entrenched politically in some tribalism here. The message that my party, the Democratic Party, is trying to get out, I'm not sure that they're successful with this message, is that these hearings are beyond partisan politics and that we're in a fight for the democracy of our country. I'm just not sure that that message is resonating, Harris.
So from what Jason was saying, and it was kind of similar, I mean, you used some different hyperbole there, if you will. But the drawdown of all of this, pop those numbers back up on the screen, if you would. Democrats, 68%. Republicans, 73%. Independents, still well above 50%. So it's hard to get like 60, 70% of people to agree on anything. We don't know what they agree upon, though, but we can guess because of the political party here. So what are we doing? We're watching all of this. They're trying to impeach a president. The Senate is headed by Republicans. What is the end game for Democrats?
My fear right now is that my party doesn't actually realize that we're cutting our nose off to spite our face. Because if you look at everything that's happened since the beginning of these proceedings, our 2020 candidates aren't getting any earned media. They're having to resort to social media to get their messaging out. I'm concerned for our party headed into 2020, in all honesty.
Yeah, it's interesting. I want to do another quick go-around with everybody. Judge, we've got 2 more witnesses coming up this afternoon. That's set to begin at about 3 p.m. Eastern. We're told they're out for a House vote right now, so we'll have to see how that goes, timing-wise. But how do you think the witnesses are playing so far?
I think the witnesses are conveying what Congressman, remember, this is the Democratic chosen witnesses. They're conveying what Congressman Schiff and the majority want to convey, which is that in the context of Russians at the border, the president was willing to hold up nearly $400 million in aid until a political favor came. The political favor didn't come because of the pressure that was put on the president. That's Congressman Schiff's case in a nutshell, backed up by very proper, very polite military and diplomatic finesse.
Does there need to be any other evidence?
I don't think so, because this is political, not legal. This is not a jury deciding whether Donald Trump did X and Y beyond a reasonable doubt. The judgment, the impeachment judgment, is ultimately a political one. That may be not a good thing, But that's the way the Constitution...
That's an interesting point that
that's
the
the
judge
way
is
the
making.
Constitution reads. Impeachable offense is whatever a majority of the House of Representatives thinks it is at a given time.
When you go back to the polling that we talked about earlier, it shows you that it's not really about seeing new evidence for the country. It's an emotional decision. It's a political decision. And that's what you saw the Democrats trying to make their case today. They're not really producing any evidence that there's an impeachable offense here. There's no high crime and misdemeanor. This is all about proving an emotional response to the testimony from these witnesses.
All right. Gentlemen, all three of you, thank you very much. We're going to take a quick break.